Hello everyone, it's John82 and back to a brand new video. Today we'll talk about the Daleks. Now, I already know what I'm going to rate this story as what I can remember of it. I'm now going to talk to you about it, and it's the review part. I already know what I'm going to rate it, but this is the review part. So, I've got to say as well, I did watch this a couple of days ago now, last week. This is a week I had to, indigest it. I read about it. But I thought this is the number I like to give the story. So, further ado, I've got to read my notes, and here we go. We start off where last week's episode started with the music. Great music, as always. But there's this jungle, and it's all destroyed. This is part one. Jungle all destroyed. Ian Bravo wants to go home. At the start, they didn't really like. I said this. It didn't appear they really liked the Doctor. They was just with him because they had to be with him. So that's what I'd like to write down. Everything is stone. In part one, and they got to find out why. And then they see a city. The Doctor wants to see the city, but Ian can't let him go alone. And the Doctor knows how to make him come, and he sees it, and it's got creepy music, and that's just how good Doctor Who was back that day. The music for me in this story, I think part one, part two, I don't know if the music went off a bit, but I know part one, part two, the music would be a 10 out of 10. For the music, it was just brilliant. So the Doctor got a bit of the soul, and he put it in the TARDIS, and he was trying to figure out where they are. Clip. He said to them, if they want to stay in TARDIS, they can. It won't take off. So then they went to the city because the Doctor wanted to, but they all split up. But they all meet up again, except from Barbara because has found something, and I know what they is. I've already seen the Daleks as well before this whole thing, so it's not my first reaction. It's just what I've written. So they're worried, so they go looking for Barbara. The Doctor can hear something. They find out it's radiation from a bomb. So they find out that radiation from the bomb. Then we have a conversation where he basically admits the Doctor the reason why they're there is because he wanted to see the city. Is which he recently blackmailed. You don't have to, but I have to go and see. And then Ian starts blackmailing the Doctor, saying, if Barbara dies, it's all your fault. And then they're looking around for Barbara, and then they step in a room of robots. And of course, we know what they are. As I said again, acting like they've been better people by standing. They Now this is what I mean by standing. I mean the Daleks, of course, as we don't know what they are yet. But the Daleks were just acting like we are better people. We are better people than you. Straight away, you could tell. They stun his legs, so then you know they don't want to kill him. They find Barbara, and the Daleks are taking them hostage. And they say, because there's radiation, there's two people on this planet, Daleks and Thals. Calling the people Thals Doctor. And then they say that the Thals, if you could find them, would probably have, an antidote for because radiation. They would probably have something for that, but they won't let them all go. So they will only let one go. So they let uh, Susan go. But then you hear in the background, because it's a bit of the Daleks, that they must let the humans, die. Just let them die. This is where I get a bit confused in the latest latest. Remember, Susan remembers what Ian said. So Ian says to her, get there, get the because they. I didn't mention this neither in part one. They found there was a load of drugs. Was it in part one? Because no one believed Susan, and then get back. It was either part one, part two, and then get straight back, even though she was tired. I think that's when she falls asleep or something. Susan then meets with the Fowls, and they are friendly. Talks about the dark people. Fowls talk about not trusting the Fowls. It's worried because the Darks were talking like they just let them die now. So the Thousand Darks are fine, of course, about the war now. They're like, should we trust them? Should we not? Will they kill us? Will they not? And of course, the Fowls are in danger because the Darks say they want to help them out, but we secretly know the audience. Of course, they never want to help the Fowls out. Yeah, the Darks are plotting their downfall. I've basically written here, telling Susan by. So basically, in this part, I believe is where they're telling Susan they want to rebuild Skaro, which isn't named yet, but they want to rebuild the city, and they want the Fowls to help them, and in reply they will give them food and water. Um, but secretly, because Susan's off doing her own thing, the own people, the Doctor, Barbara, and Ian, have destroyed because they're watching them, listening to what they say, because the Darks are doing stuff which they can obviously tell they're listening to them by. This is part three, by the way, all this tension. I should remember this. They break the eye, which is watching them. Um, and then they plot, because Susan eventually does get back and cures them. I must have missed that bit out. She does come back and cure them because a lot of the other three are very badly radiation poisoned, except from Susan. Um, and Ian can't walk. Um, sorry, I missed that bit out again. Um, and then because she's back after telling them, they plot on their escape. So they have a plan, rather to put mud on the Dalek's eye. Susan with the thing, the Doctor and Ian fighting, and they're talking about the electrics on the floor. The metal. And they undo the machine, and we see what the Daleks looks like the first time. It looks cool for that time. I'd say, a little monster alien thing. And that's how I think it ends. Well, we're still on part four, and there's like 7 parts. Right, this video might be 2-part. Ian finds out how to work the Dalek machine. Just to note, I had a break set planned action as Ian. So I had a break set action. Oh, I had a break. I think I mentioned there. Just I had a break for a little while, so that's even worse. Probably too long. quick thinking solve them a problem being. So basically, they got through like this Dalek patrol, but the only thing now is they can't get through, and there's a door, and the Daleks start playing through the door, and Daleks, of course, destroy the Dalek because they think Ian could be dead because they've gone up this lift, and Ian does eventually get out, and the Daleks start coming up, and they throw a freaking huge this thing down, destroying the lift. Very cool. And then the Thal leader starts talking to like this other Thal about trusting Daleks and will they kill them, will they not? Will the Daleks set a trap or not? And hiding, waiting, the main group trying to. So basically, they do come in. So the Thals are all coming in because they said they gave them food and all that, and they came in, and this gets me a bit because it looks like the man's coming in gently, gently. I'm sure Ian can see him, and he doesn't tell him, because the Daleks are hiding to hide not hide, run. It's like he's definitely in the middle of the room and he can't run, and that really caught me by surprise. Um, and then we get to a bit where the Doctor's been shown Scarro's history by this foul woman, and now the bloke, because the bloke was the head, is dead. So he's like the second command, whatever. Starts to say he's in command, but we don't want him to command down. And the woman calls it Scarrow. This is the first time, part four is the first time I think it's called Scarrow. Um, and Ian figures out what's wrong with the Daleks, that they hate everything. And then the Thals start talking about they don't want to fight the Daleks. But, all right. This is part five. Daleks doing test drugs. So the Daleks start doing the test of the drugs too because they want to know if they can, ever leave their capital, and the humans will fight them. So, and the Daleks start saying that, the humans will fight the Thals. So they start fighting the Thals to make them want to fight Daleks, and they have to figure out how to. But the Thals are very polite, and Ian's very rude at this point. And they try and make fight for the missus. This is funny. The Daleks' drugs do not work, and they figure out that they need to do another bomb. And then they figure out they can't do another bomb, but they can do a radiation bomb, whatever. The radiator, make it go over the top, whatever. Talk about. So Bravo starts talking to them. There's a whole creatures of Skaro near the city. They start talking about near the water. Changes to how diets go tested. The humans and the Thals plan to how they get in the city. So basically, the companions. Another way to go around. So there's two ways. There's the front door, and there's the underwater cave system. Um, and then there's this horrible creature, and that's how it ends in the square. Right, part six now. They find out the creature killed their man. Thals, the Doctor and Susan group try to work out how to get to the front doors. Boom, won't work. Need to find another way. Do it, brother. Split up from Ian. Goes off, tries to find a way with her friend. Ian goes off with the other two. Brother must be very strong to hold a Thal. Find a hole where think there is a water as the Thal Thal, her mistake looks to be the lucky fall. Yeah, that's weird because the Thal, it's like wow, how ironic. I fell, but I actually lived. That got me. Um, Dive figure out there, attack them. There are so many different ways to have no right one. Fails fighting, won't go back now, can't the Daleks. Right, so they do get in the city because they shine mirrors, and but the Doctor does get captured with Susan, and the Fowls members get killed. The ones they go with, and one bloke escapes. The main leader escapes. Goes back, tells the other people because they're shining these mirrors to interact with their systems. Um, they try to find a way into it. And this bloke says, I don't want to go any further. He wants to go back. And the ironic thing is, the cave bit behind him falls down. I find that so ironic. And Ian has to convince them that the Daleks don't want to be friends. They want to kill everything that's not a Dalek. And then at the end of all this, I don't know how it ends, but the one who didn't want to stay, he wanted to go back. Then he carried on, and because they had to swing across, and every foul, there's 3 fouls, and Ian and Barbara made it through. So from the very one who didn't want to come across, he couldn't return. He fell and died. What was the point in that? That's the most weakest piece of drama I've ever witnessed. That got me. That was like, what the hell? Why bother making this person live if you're just going to kill him off? Alright, part 7, the final part. Keep with me if you can. Ian gets help. The Thal cuts the rope. So this is the one who didn't want to come across. I think it is, anyways. That's what I got, anyway. So he all look the same to me. He cuts the rope and he dies. So Ian gets help from another Thal, and then the one he doesn't want, because he's holding on to him, Ian, he cuts it off and dies. That's how he dies himself. Anyways, Daleks tell the Doctor their plans, still trying to find a way out the cave. The friends are trying to find a way out the cave. Daleks getting ready for the radiation. Daleks talk about TARDIS, the Daleks. The Doctor talks about the TARDIS, sorry, not the Daleks. And the Daleks talk about, well, we'll just take over the universe without you. We don't need you. We're too clever. But then, of course, they do find a way, Ian and Barbara, into the city. Can you hear the Daleks on the sort of like ramps? And that's what I like, because they sound like the ramps. And they count down. I mean, I'm talking about as it is now. It's really weird, stupid, but that's how it is. The nuclear bomb get killed. One foul gets killed, then gets killed. More fouls get killed. They try and fight the Daleks, run for it. Fouls make the Daleks. Foul, kill off the Doctor. Want to go leave the Doctor. So yeah, they eventually do kill the fouls because the new drug gets in there and it kills them off. And then at the end, the Doctor says he may return one day. He may return. And of course, he does, as we know. The foul boy really wants to marry Barbara, I think. But suddenly we go back into TARDIS, and suddenly something seems to happen, and that leads into the edge of destruction. I would rate this story, I think, about a 7 or 8 out of 10. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. It's a good story, good music. Some points a bit pointless, some bits a bit bad, and of course it's old. I mean, it's good for its time, but I don't know, guys. What would you rate this story? Leave a link down below. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, comment down below. Thank you guys for watching, and goodbye for now. Bye bye.